rocks. And a fresh scrape. We've had so many false hopes when cats have come past and the technology's let us down, like flat batteries and digital breakup due to the cold. That it's got frustrating, but rewind the tape and see whether we got lucky this time.
The problem with remote cameras is that they're non-selective. And as the snow leopards share these tracks with the locals, we capture plenty of useless images. We just rewind the tapes to use them again and hope for better luck. Oh, we have got lucky. It's a snow leopard. It's the yak from the village. Just a bit too big to eat. Now, what else have we got? Oh, a cat by the rock. Oh, the camera's screwed up, damn it. Ah! Wonderful. First close-up views of a snow leopard. Just going to have another look at that. This is such good news. Because now we know the system works, we might be able to identify individuals, learn how often they pass by, and even get some idea how many snow leopards live here. What a beautiful cat. He's got a little twist in his tail. Did you notice that? That might help us to identify this one if we see it again in the next few weeks. Great. Let's see if we can get another one.
Rinchen suspects that this flat rock is an important snow leopard signpost, and after a few days, we get our first hit, a chuck or partridge. And a couple of days later, this magnificent cat. And for the first time ever, a snow leopard is recorded visiting and refreshing a rock scent. This is magical. It's becoming clear that this smelling and face rubbing allows each snow leopard to know who went past and how long ago. And spraying their own urine under the rock is a calling card, enabling them to keep in touch. The scent's pungent and long-lasting. We move the camera around, and 4 days later, another snow leopard visits the rock. We're discovering that each cat comes by about every 3 to 10 days. There's so little to eat here that they have to share home ranges, but meeting could be dangerous. So these rock sprays help to keep them apart. We've hidden 4 cameras in various spots, but things often go wrong. This tentative snow leopard took so long to approach that the camera turns off just after it enters frame. A real breakthrough comes when this female leads 2 young snow leopards through the shot. A breeding age female is terrific news. Since her youngsters are about a year old, it would be reasonable to hope for a litter of little cubs in about 18 months' time, and that would be a real prize.
We're excited to be getting such lovely pictures of the cats, and we hope that these images will help us to identify individuals from the patterns on their beautiful coats. But it's proving tricky. They say a leopard never changes its spots, but snow leopards do, especially when they're walking, because their thick fur moves so much.
The snow leopard's coat pattern is so complex that I'm trying to sort out who's who by sketching some of the cats that I've filmed by playing back the footage on this little monitor here. Some of them are fairly easy to tell apart. This one, for instance, this very dark-faced snow leopard, who I think is a female, is very distinctive. So I think if we see her again, she should be reasonably easy to identify. And this might be the same cat, but these distance shots are too far for identification of individuals. Experience is showing us that we can safely creep the cameras in closer to the snow leopards without disturbing them. By rewinding the image, we can determine where to move in for more detail. We try hard to decipher which marks separate individuals reliably. We assume the face is important, but is it the fronts or backs of legs or the patterns on the top or bottom of these exquisite tails? We begin to see this guy quite often, a male because of his bulk and his wide head. We hope we'll be able to recognise him if we see him again, even at a distance, because he's a slightly yellowish colour. He carries the end of his tail with a distinctive twist.
It's great the technology works, and the pictures are lovely, but we really need IDs if we're to follow the cats and film more intimate behaviour. We could do with some help. And we have the perfect person in Rodney Jackson, director of the Snow Leopard Conservancy and one of the world's leading experts on this elusive cat.
Okay, good sight.
With the help of our friend Rinchin, he's now attempting to census all the cats in our corner of Ladak's Hemis National Park. Rodney hopes individual snow leopards can be identified from still photographs of their lovely coat patterns. We have only 4 cameras. Rodney has 30, but it'll still take months to accumulate enough pictures.
Okay, Winston, let's try.
So we'll have to be patient.
Did that work? Great, really nice.
Sometimes these mountains can seem cruel. We're living up here at 12,000 feet for weeks on end, and the sub-zero temperatures feel unrelenting. And then, every time we want to film a snow leopard, it seems to involve a really grueling climb of up to 3 hours. But the other day I was amused to see that we weren't alone in finding this place hard. I was watching a snow leopard climbing up this ridge, and it kept on having to stop to catch its breath.
We know we'll need a lot of luck if we're to achieve one of our main aims, to film snow leopards hunting. So we're keen to keep tabs on this cat. But snow is a problem. It's dangerous for us to follow the cat on slippery slopes. And difficult for the snow leopard too, because its camouflage doesn't work so well when it's walking over snow. In this toughest of lands where prey is so scarce, a snow leopard can do without handicaps, and moving around on ice-covered mountains when you can't see your footing is treacherous, even for a snow leopard. Despite the conditions, snow leopards have to keep travelling, not just to find prey, but to mark their home ranges. When it's snowed, it's easy to see how overhanging rocks provide protection for the messages left underneath by each passing cat. Defending their space like this is always important because there's not enough food to share. But the hazards of winter also bring opportunity.
It's a big chance for Hugh and his team, too. Snow leopards have never been filmed hunting, and now is a great time because their most important prey, the burrell, are starting their mating season. And that means they may be a bit distracted.
Most of the time the burrell are super vigilant, but when they're rutting like this, the burrow lose a lot of their caution. And if I was a snow leopard, I'd be watching the burrow right very carefully. Males have to find out which females are coming into estrus and then make sure that they're the ones that corner the female in order to mate. But that also means chasing off competing males. On such steep cliffs, there's a constant danger of injury or death, and of course a chance for a hungry snow leopard.
After the rut, the snow leopard's chances of hunting success increase still further because the male baral are exhausted and must find food to replenish their wasted bodies. The snow leopards keep a close eye on them, but must still mark their home ranges to protect their space. Snow leopards overlapped ranges with each other, but also tried to avoid meeting for fear of potentially dangerous conflict. And this is not their only problem. What strikes me about this place is the deafening silence. It sounds devoid of life, but feels really tense. For the animals out there are fighting an elemental battle against hunger and cold. When it's so quiet, it must be tough for a snow leopard to stalk a baral. The cliffs are so steep that one carelessly placed paw could dislodge a rock and alert his prey.
We think this is the local male, the one with the twist in his tail. He's making good use of his superb camouflage and his great stealth. With that thick-set, muscular body, short, powerful legs, and that gorgeous long tail to counterbalance during swift turns on steep slopes, he's the ultimate mountain killer.
There's so little food at this time of year that the baral have to dig for roots, and with heads down like this, they're vulnerable. But the scars of a snow leopard's claws and teeth on this one's neck shows that the attacks can be shaken off. Snow leopards have been known to kill prey 3 times their own weight. This male weighs about 100 pounds, and to aid acceleration, he'll most likely attack from above, but only if he can get close enough to the baral. We couldn't believe our luck. We'd started out thinking we'd be lucky to even see a snow leopard, and Mitchell had just filmed the first ever shots of one hunting. It's a great step forward. We weren't the only ones to witness the hunt. We're told that Tibetan wolves are the snow leopard's main competitor. And though they also hunt burrowal, they're not averse to scavenging. The wolf doesn't know the snow leopard failed and will try to steal the kill it thinks is hidden somewhere nearby. Facing such a threat, snow leopards simply avoid wolves. It's easy for them to just disappear.